Hey all, so today we're going to be checking out a Game Gear game called Revenge of Drancon. Or Drancon, I don't know. I have no clue how to say it. But what's interesting about it is it's very much like Adventure Island. And Adventure Island actually came out after this game. So you can see it's pretty basic. You're just going around collecting the fruit, and that's what gives you HP. And as you go, you get to jump around all this jazz, all these obstacles. I like it because it's actually a little bit more forgiving than Adventure Island. In a sense that you have replays, basically endless replays. It does start you at the beginning after you die X amount of times, but it's still a great game. So, for those that don't know, Sega Game Gear came out in 1990. I did the same thing again, nice. Sega Game Gear came out in 1990. And I had one maybe in like 1994 or something. 1990 was also when Super Nintendo came out. So, basically, Sega put an 8-bit system into a handheld system. Essentially, it was their answer to the Game Boy, which was getting boatloads of sales back then. Oh hey, I actually passed level 3. Or not level 3, but stage 3 here. And of course, they have this, like, invincibility fairy thing. And the nice part is the pickups are more predictable than they are even in Adventure Island. That's some bonus doll that gives you a bonus at the end of the game. Why, I don't know. Okay, so here we are at level 2. This one's a little harder. You have to jump over the water more. Eventually there are also platforms that just fall when you get on them. And unless you memorize all these things, you're not going to survive the level. And I talk a lot about this because this game, and Adventure Island for that matter, are great examples of how difficult video games used to be. And, you know, you pick up a DS, and you can play the Super Mario game, I forget what it's called, but the new Super Mario Brothers, I believe. And that game is relatively easy compared to this stuff. You kids got it so easy today, let me tell you. I know they only had 8 bits, but it was really, really annoying that they couldn't change the music. It's just the same thing for every freaking level. There, I got another bonus. Okay, so there's one of the platforms that just falls, and if you don't remember it, you're screwed. Okay, great. More success. Got the doll. So when I talk about comparing, you know, Nintendo DS to this, I know they're two completely different animals. That one is 8-bit, and I believe DS is at least 64 bits. You can tell that you just have to be a lot more precise with this game, especially on my platform jumps. And, you know, I don't know whether that's because of the 8-bit and, you know, they had to be more precise with the programming, and then when stuff got more advanced, they could tell the computer essentially like, well, if he lands here, it's okay, if he lands here, it's okay, you know. More movement within sprites and just say, this sprite is okay, this sprite is okay. But with the old school video games, if you didn't jump exactly correctly, you were done. And there were times when you had to practice. I mean, to be honest with you, so I own this game, I have a Sega Game Gear, and I practiced it before I did this, and I still had trouble, as you can see. So I believe we're gonna get through the first boss, and yeah, you'll see kind of another disappointment that I have with this after that. But all in all, I think this is a good game. It's playable. One of the things with Game Gear is that it just didn't have an amazing library, but this is definitely an asset in its library. So there you can see after you die, at least you wind up at a checkpoint. Whew. There you go. Doll bonus and sitch. Now that high score there is actually pre-programmed in. This thing did not save anything, to my knowledge anyway. Okay, so now we have the new level, quote-unquote new level. At least there's different music now. But, you know, you couldn't put in a different background? And I guess it's just because they were limited to 8 bits. So they introduced these new spider enemies, which are great. And the game just gets a lot harder. So for this little demo, I'm not playing the entire game. I think that I just got an extra life or something, I don't know. As far as the game mechanics go, they're challenging, but still fun. That was a big thing. I liked how the rocks didn't kill you, because I believe in Adventure Island they do. Here, the rocks just take life energy, they just take XP. Which works for me. I'd much prefer that than just dying. Speaking of dying... So here, there are a couple moves between these spiders where while I was playing I was like, damn, I thought I got hit, you know? But thankfully the sprites are a little forgiving here. And here we go up the hill. Maybe not? Oh, there we go, yep. Okay, so here is the boss for, I guess, the first segment, and it took me a while to learn how to fight him because you gotta get his head off before he comes to you. And you can see now I've gotten the high player bonus there. but I can tell you from personal experience, it does not save on the cartridge. So of course it will save on an emulator. I'm sure you could just do a save state. I didn't want to do save states here just because I wanted to do this a little bit more honestly. And like I said, I'd been practicing, so I figured, you know, try to play it legitimately. One of the best things about this game were the controls. It worked really well, and granted you only have an analog D-pad style on the system, but it's just as good on the actual system as it is on the emulator. It's very precise, and it's helpful when you're trying to just avoid somebody who just comes out of nowhere. And you can see I've done that a few times here. So when I was a kid, I was relatively bad at video games, mostly because I didn't have the patience. In my adulthood, I've gone back and played those games, and I've gotten a lot better at them. And again, the games were just so much harder back then than they are now. I can pick up a DS, or even a Game Boy Color, the Game Boy Advance, rather, and those games are even easier than the ones from the late 80s and the early 90s. Even the Super Nintendo games, unless they were something like puzzle games or Tetris or something, the platformers were always very difficult for me, and I think everyone. So these systems were a lot of fun as kids. I mean, we would take them everywhere because they're portable, and portable video games was basically a new thing then because Game Boy came out maybe, I can't remember, 84, 85 or something like that. And it revolutionized video gaming because now you had this thing that you could carry around with you. And, you know, they had all these peripherals for it, Nintendo and third-party peripherals. They made a killing off this stuff. So Sega Game Gear, when it came out, it did the exact same thing. Had third-party peripherals like a big magnifying glass and stuff, and all sorts of extras that came not necessarily with it, but that you could buy. And I used to love playing Game Gear on long trips. So that was this game. I hope you enjoyed this little bit of gameplay, and check out my other gameplay videos. I got a lot of them up.